The forgotten world, the galaxy had many worlds, but Earth was never one of the important ones. It was far from the central trade routes, hidden in the spiral arm of the Milky Way, a quiet blue planet that no one cared to visit, to most alien records. It was only a remote Class M planet with limited civilization, a place you could ignore because it had nothing to offer. For hundreds of years, the great empires of the galaxy fought over rich resource planets, strategic stargates, and military outposts, but Earth? It was left alone, forgotten, unimportant, and humans liked it that way. They lived their lives, built their cities, and watched the stars. But they were not blind. They knew they were not alone. In the deep silence of space, far beyond the moon, a listening station floated in darkness. It was small, hidden, and completely off the public records. From there, a human crew listened to the whispers of the galaxy, every strange signal, every encrypted military order, every fleet movement. Humans recorded it all. For decades they listened without speaking. Back, because sometimes knowing more than your enemies was more powerful than showing what you had. On a cold evening in the listening station, a faint signal arrived. Lieutenant Sarah Quinn leaned closer to her console. The sound was unusual, like a heartbeat mixed with static. Her brow furrowed. "This is not a civilian channel," she whispered. Her partner, Chief Engineer Malik, rolled his chair over. He studied the wave pattern, then his eyes narrowed. "This is a deep space military ping," he said slowly. "From outside our system, somewhere across the galaxy, aboard a scout ship of the Korthan Empire." An alien officer was also staring at a screen. He had picked up traces of powerful energy bursts coming from the Sol system. They were faint, almost like background noise, but the readings were strange, too clean to be natural. The junior officer laughed. "Just a primitive backwater planet, Commander. Probably still using chemical rockets." But the commander, a tall reptilian figure with black-scaled skin, didn't laugh. "I've seen this pattern before," he murmured. "It usually means they are hiding something on Earth." The human listening team reported the signal to command. It traveled through secure channels, bouncing between encrypted satellites until it reached the Human Defense Council. The council members gathered in a hidden chamber under the mountains. They listened to the recorded signal, their faces calm but their eyes sharp. "It's them," said Admiral Reyes, his voice heavy. "They're coming to take a look." Humans had long suspected that one day the galaxy would notice them. They had spent decades preparing for it. Some preparations were public space programs, research labs, communication networks, but most were secret hidden shipyards, underground weapon bunkers, stealth satellites. They never wanted to be the aggressors, but they were ready to defend their home. Back in space, the Korthan Scout sent a message to its home fleet. It was short, almost casual. "Planet 3 of Sol System. Possible energy signatures worth investigation." The Korthan Fleet High Command reviewed it. They saw no threat, no urgency. Still, they approved a small evaluation team to be sent. 6 ships vast, lightly armed, enough to intimidate a primitive world, but not enough to start a war. The scout ship drifted closer to the outer edges of the solar system. It passed Pluto without even slowing down. Its crew laughed when they saw the old human satellites near Jupiter. They're still using metal dishes and solar panels. One of them snorted, but none of them noticed the dark shape resting in the shadow of the planet. It was a human drone platform, its hull black and invisible against the void. Its sensors followed the alien ship, transmitting silent data back to Earth on the moon. Inside a massive crater invisible from Earth, something stirred, buried under layers of dust and rock. A hidden hangar opened. From the darkness, a ship emerged, sleek, black, and silent. It drifted into the shadow of the moon, invisible to alien radar. Its engines didn't roar, they whispered. And yet, in seconds, it was moving faster than any alien ship had ever seen. In the Korthan flagship, the commander checked his navigation logs. He frowned. "Something's wrong," he muttered. "What is it, sir?" His officer asked. The commander's eyes scanned the readings. There's a mass shadow moving in the moon's orbit. Before he could finish, the shadow was gone. It was as if the stars themselves had swallowed it on Earth. Admiral Reyes received the live feed from the lunar ship. He smiled faintly. "Let them come closer," he ordered. The words carried no fear, only calm. It was the calm of someone holding a secret the other side didn't know. The Corthan commander sat back in his chair, feeling a chill he couldn't explain. He had come to this remote planet expecting fear, weakness, and awe, but instead there was silence, no panic, no desperate calls, no begging, only stillness. And that stillness was starting to scare him. The alien fleet adjusted its course, heading straight toward Earth. Neither side had fired a shot. Neither side had spoken a word, but the game had already begun. The silent approach, the Corthan fleet entered the edge of the solar system. Moving with quiet confidence, 6 sleek ships glided through the darkness, their hulls glimmering faintly under distant starlight. They did not hide their presence, because they believed there was no need. To them, Earth was a weak, undeveloped world that could not even detect them. But Earth had seen them hours ago, in a hidden control room deep under the Pacific Ocean. Human operators tracked every move of the alien ships. Holographic projections showed their course, speed, and formation. "Keep radio silence," ordered Admiral Reyes. "Let them think we're blind." The alien commander, Captain Varric, stood in the center of his bridge. He was a proud officer, used to seeing primitive worlds cower when his ships arrived. Through the large viewing screen, he watched Earth grow slowly in the distance. Its blue oceans and green lands seemed peaceful, harmless. He wondered why his instincts told him to be cautious. The alien crew passed Jupiter and its moons. They mocked the human satellites they saw drifting in orbit. Old metal frames, solar panels, and cameras from decades ago. To them, these were proof of a primitive race, but none of them realized those satellites were only a distraction. The real human eyes in space were hidden tiny black drones parked in deep shadow. Silent and invisible, from the dark side of Mars, a small human stealth probe followed the alien ships. It transmitted data back to Earth using a laser so thin and precise it could never be detected. In the command room, technicians read the alien COMM signals. "They're scanning our outer defenses," one whispered. "They'll find nothing," another replied, smiling. Captain Varric gave orders to test Earth's response. "Bring us closer, but keep weapons cold," he said. His crew obeyed, slowly adjusting the course toward the moon. As they moved, he noticed something strange Earth's satellites didn't. Turn toward them. No transmissions were sent, no warning signals. It was as if Earth hadn't even noticed. But Varric knew better. No species ignores an unknown fleet in their system, he thought. If they are not reacting, they are watching. On the moon's far side, a shadow detached itself from the crater wall. It was the same black ship that had left the hidden hangar earlier. It drifted silently, staying in the blind spot of the alien scanners. Inside, Commander Elena Torres sat in her pilot's chair, eyes fixed on her tactical display. "They're getting close," her co-pilot murmured. "Good," Elena replied softly. "I want them close." Back in the alien fleet, Junior Officer Zoran checked his readings. "Captain, we have a disturbance," he said. "What kind of disturbance?" Varric asked. "An intermittent shadow on our sensors." Zoran replied. "Mass size is small, about the size of a patrol ship, but it disappears every time we try to lock onto it." Varric narrowed his eyes. "Probably an asteroid fragment," he said aloud, but in his mind, he was not so sure. The humans kept silent. No ships were sent into open space. No broadcasts were made. Even civilian life on Earth went on as normal people, shopping, driving, working, laughing from above. It looked like a calm, innocent planet. But deep below the surface, thousands of human soldiers stood ready. Weapons were armed, targeting systems locked. Every hidden defense waited for one order. The alien fleet slowed as they reached lunar orbit. From this close, they could see the details of Earth's atmosphere. The swirling clouds, the sunlight on the oceans. Zoran turned to Varric. "Captain, do you feel it?" "Feel what?" Varric asked. "That they are prepared," Zoran said quietly. Varric didn't answer, but his grip on the railing tightened. Inside the hidden lunar ship, Commander Elena Torres received a short encrypted message from Admiral Reyes. "Hold position, do not reveal," it read. She understood the meaning. Humans were not ready to show their hand, not yet. Her ship glided silently, staying just behind the alien fleet, tracking every movement. The aliens never saw her. As the fleet adjusted its orbit, Captain Varric ordered a passive scan of the planet. He expected to see open radio chatter, exposed military bases, and scattered defense networks. Instead, he saw almost nothing. The signal traffic was heavily shielded. There were no visible warships, no massive weapons on the surface. To the untrained eye, Earth looked vulnerable, but to Varric, this emptiness was unsettling. It was too clean, too quiet. In the human command chamber, Admiral Reyes studied the holographic projection of the alien fleet. "They think they're in control," he said to his officers. "Let them." He leaned forward, voice low and calm. "When the moment comes, they'll see what we really are." From orbit, the alien ships looked down at the blue planet. They came seeking curiosity, perhaps dominance. What they didn't know was that they were now the ones being observed. And somewhere deep in his mind, Captain Varric felt it, the sense that they had stepped into a trap they couldn't yet see. The silence continued, no shots fired, no words exchanged. Only the slow, silent approach toward a world that was not as simple as it seemed. First contact, the alien fleet settled into a high orbit above Earth, their hulls reflecting the sunlight. Like distant silver knives, for a moment, the planet below looked peaceful, calm, unaware. But Captain Varric's instincts told him otherwise. He had seen too many worlds fall silent before an attack, and Earth's silence felt unnatural. In the Human Defense Council's underground chamber, Admiral Reyes stood before a large display. The alien ships were now within range for visual scans. Technicians moved quietly, speaking only when necessary. "Sir, they've begun sending a greeting signal," one reported. Reyes nodded. "Patch it through." A smooth, deep alien voice filled the room. "This is Captain Varric of the Korthan Expeditionary Fleet, representing the Korthan Empire," it said. "We come in peace, but we expect respect." The words carried no direct threat, but the tone was heavy with power. It was the voice of someone who expected submission. On the alien bridge, Varric waited for a reply. Minutes passed, but there was only silence from Earth. The junior officers exchanged curious glances. Perhaps they did not understand. Zoran suggested. "They understood," Varric replied quietly. "They're choosing not to answer yet." Finally, a calm human voice responded. "This is Earth Defense Command," said Admiral Reyes, his words slow and measured. "We welcome communication, but your presence in our orbit is unauthorized." It wasn't fear in his tone. It was authority. Varric tilted his head, surprised. Few primitive worlds dared to speak that way to a Korthan captain. The alien commander sent another message. "We wish to learn about your planet and your capabilities." Again, Reyes' answer was calm. "You will learn what we allow you to learn." There was no shouting, no threats, but each word felt like a closed door. Varric could feel the shift. He was not speaking to prey. Meanwhile, aboard the hidden lunar ship, Commander Elena Torres listened to the exchange. Her crew remained in stealth mode, their sensors locked on the alien fleet. "They're trying to read us," her co-pilot whispered. "Let them try," Elena said, a small smile on her lips. Then something unexpected happened. A fragment of classified human data appeared on the open communication channel. It was a schematic blueprints for a massive planetary cannon. The alien bridge crew gasped. Zoran stared at the image. "Captain, this weapon, if real, could pierce a capital ship's hull in one shot. Varric narrowed his eyes. "It's a bluff," he said. Though his voice lacked confidence, on Earth, in the command chamber, Reyes glanced at his intelligence officer. The man simply nodded. The accidental leak had been deliberate. It was bait, carefully designed to raise questions in the aliens' minds. The alien sensors immediately began scanning Earth's surface for energy readings, but they found nothing unusual, no giant weapons, no massive power surges, and yet seismic sensors detected faint, regular tremors under the crust. It was as if something deep underground was moving. Varric leaned over the console. "Get me a full geological scan," he ordered. When the results came, they made him uneasy. There were vast hollow chambers beneath several continents, too perfectly shaped to be natural on the lunar ship. Elena's crew watched as the alien fleet adjusted its scan patterns. "They're looking for the cannon," her co-pilot said. "They won't find it," Elena replied. "It's not on the surface. Back on the alien bridge." Zoran spoke again. "Captain, if this planet truly has such weapons, why are they hiding them?" Varric's answer was simple. "Because they don't want us to know how many there are." The humans had achieved what they wanted, uncertainty. The aliens could not tell how. Much of what they saw was real, and how much was a show. And in war, uncertainty could be as dangerous as any weapon. Admiral Reyes finally sent a second transmission. "You came here without invitation," he said evenly. "We will allow a diplomatic landing to discuss your intentions." Varric considered refusing, but something told him to accept. The way the humans spoke, it was not the tone of a desperate people. It was the tone of someone confident in their ground. Varric turned to his crew. "Prepare a shuttle," he ordered as the alien landing craft detached from the main ship. It passed briefly through the shadow of the moon. For just a second, the shuttle's sensors caught a faint blip, a moving object in stealth. Then it vanished again. The Corthan pilot frowned, but kept flying on Earth. A secure landing zone had been prepared. It was surrounded by soldiers in dark armor, but their weapons were not raised. Instead, they stood calmly, watching the alien craft descend. The hatch opened, and Captain Varric stepped out, tall, armored, his eyes scanning every face. The humans did not flinch. In that moment, Varric realized these people had seen war before, and they were not afraid of him. Somewhere far above, Commander Elena Torres' ship stayed locked in stealth. Her voice came through the secure channel to Admiral Reyes. "They're on the ground," she said. "Good," Reyes replied. "Let's see what they really want." The first meeting between Earth and the Corthan Empire had begun, but neither side knew that the real battle would not be fought with weapons. It would be fought with secrets, patience, and the will to outlast the other. The first meeting ended with polite words and careful smiles. But underneath the surface, tension coiled like a hidden blade. Captain Varric returned to his flagship with a mind full of questions. The humans had shown no fear, no awe. They treated the Corthan Empire as an equal. To Varric, that was strange and a little dangerous. In the private war room aboard the alien flagship, his senior officers gathered. "They have weapons," one officer said. "But I doubt they can match us in a real fight," Zoran disagreed. "They might be stronger than we think," he said, "and they're hiding something." Varric listened silently, then spoke. "We will test them." On Earth, Admiral Reyes was not surprised when his intelligence team intercepted the alien transmission. The Corthans believed their encryption was unbreakable. It wasn't. Reyes heard the plan. A small, controlled attack on a remote part of the planet, just to see how humans would respond. He didn't call for defenses to engage. Instead, he smiled. "Let them try," he said quietly. "It will be more interesting this way." The alien fleet moved into position, keeping their main weapons offline. They targeted an uninhabited stretch of ocean, far from any shipping lanes, from orbit. One of the Corthan destroyers fired a beam of focused energy into the waves. It boiled the water instantly, sending steam into the sky. The Corthan crew watched their screens, waiting for panic, for emergency broadcasts. None came. Under the ocean, deep in the black depths, sensors detected the energy strike, hidden far below, inside a structure that did not appear on any alien. Scan. A group of human drones activated. They were small, fast, and unlike anything in the Corthan Navy. In seconds, they left the water, their sleek forms breaking the surface without a splash, and then they disappeared from normal sight. They were invisible to radar, invisible to heat tracking. They were ghosts, the alien destroyer prepared to fire again. But before the order could be given, every targeting system on the ship went dark. The crew shouted in confusion. What happened? The weapons officer yelled. Unknown interference, the technician replied, his voice shaking. Varric's eyes narrowed. Find the source, he ordered. But there was no source to find. High above, in low Earth orbit, one of the human drones hovered just meters from the alien destroyer's hull. Its black surface absorbed every reflection, every signal. It was invisible even at point-blank range. The drone extended a small arm and tapped the alien hull twice, a mocking gesture. Then it vanished into the void. On the alien bridge, Zoran's voice was tense. Captain, our sensors detected a mass right next to us for a fraction of a second. Show me the recording, Varric said. But the playback showed only empty space. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Down on Earth, Admiral Reyes watched the live feed. From the drones, do not attack, he ordered. Just disrupt. He wanted the aliens to understand that humans could cripple them at any time without firing a single shot. The Corthans tried again, this time sending 2 frigates toward the same ocean. As they drew near, a shadow rose from beneath the waves. It was not a ship, it was a floating platform that looked like a section of the sea itself. The alien frigates. Scanned it, it read as nothing but water. But when they passed overhead, a pulse of energy disabled both of their engines for exactly 3 seconds, just enough to make them drift off course. When the systems came back, the platform was gone, swallowed by the ocean. In the alien war room, voices grew tense. This planet is not primitive, one officer said sharply. They can strike us at will. Varric remained calm, but inside he felt a weight. The humans had not counterattacked. They had not sent threats. They had simply interfered like a predator playing with its prey. That night, the alien fleet sent a private report back to the Corthan High Command. It was meant to be a routine status update, but the words were not routine at all. Earth may not be defenseless. The message read, recommend caution. In the human command chamber, Reyes sat with his officers. They've seen enough to be nervous, he said, but not enough to understand the truth. He tapped a finger on the table. We keep it that way until we decide otherwise. Varric stood alone on his bridge, looking down at the glowing planet below. He had come here expecting to teach a lesson, but he was starting to wonder if he was the one being taught, and somewhere deep in his mind, the thought formed a dangerous one. What if they've been ready for us, for years? The test was over, but the game had only just begun, the revelation for days. The alien fleet stayed in Earth's orbit. They ran scans, they watched, they waited, but no matter what they did, they could not see the full picture. Every time they thought they had learned something, it slipped through their fingers like smoke. Captain Varric began to realize something unsettling. The humans were not simply defending themselves. They were controlling the flow of information. It was as if Earth had decided exactly how much the Corthans could know, and no more. In the underground chamber of the Human Defense Council, Admiral Reyes stood before a holographic map of the world. Small glowing points marked dozens of hidden locations, ocean floors, deep mountains, Arctic ice, even the shadows of asteroids. These were the true strongholds of Earth, places the aliens could never detect with their scanners. These, Reyes said to his officers, are why we've survived without being noticed. In a calculated move, Reyes ordered a controlled tour for the alien envoys. A Corthan diplomatic shuttle was allowed to land in a remote human facility. It looked like an ordinary military base from the outside. But once inside, the alien visitors saw something that made them pause. Deep underground, the humans revealed vast tunnels lined with advanced manufacturing machines, war drones the size of cars, sleek black ships in early construction, energy weapons charging silently in test chambers. Everything was clean, organized, and active. Nothing about it looked primitive. One alien envoy whispered to another, "They've been preparing for war." Captain Varick's voice was low but sharp. "For how long?" He asked Admiral Reyes. Reyes' answer was simple, "Long enough." The Corthans were shown a massive oceanic map. Reyes pointed to several points marked in blue. "These are our underwater cities," he said. "They hold millions of people. Safe from orbital attack." The aliens looked at each other in disbelief. Underwater cities were something even the Corthan Empire struggled to maintain. Then Reyes showed them something else. An archive decades of intercepted alien transmissions. Some were from the Corthan Empire itself, others from rival species. The envoys leaned closer, recognizing military codes and private orders that should have been impossible for humans to have. "How?" one alien demanded. Reyes' lips curved into the faintest smile. "We listen," he said simply, in the alien fleet's war room later that night. Varick played the recording again. The humans had known about the galaxy's politics for decades. They had intercepted conversations between empires. They had mapped fleet routes and supply lines of species who didn't even know Earth existed. "They've been watching us longer than we've been watching them," Zoran said quietly. Varick didn't answer, but the truth was sinking in on the lunar stealth ship. Commander Elena Torres monitored the alien reactions through hacked com feeds. "They're rattled," she reported to Reyes. "Good," he replied. "Fear makes them careful." The next day, Varick requested another meeting with Reyes. This time there were no polite formalities. "You've kept your world hidden," Varick said bluntly. "You could have joined the galactic stage long ago. Why didn't you?" Reyes looked him directly in the eye. "Because we were not ready to be found." Varick studied him, trying to read his face. "Or because you wanted us to underestimate you," he suggested. Reyes said nothing, which was answer enough. Alien captain returned to his ship deep in thought. In the Corthan Empire, power was shown through size, numbers, and open force. But the humans seemed to wield a different kind of power, one that came from patience, secrecy, and control of knowledge. It made them unpredictable. And unpredictability was dangerous. That night, a quiet message pulsed through the galaxy's shadow networks. Its origin was unknown, but its content was clear. "Earth is not a primitive world," it said. "They are a hidden power, and they have been listening." In the command chamber under the mountains, Reyes received word that the alien fleet was no longer running aggressive scans. Instead, they had pulled back into a holding pattern above the planet. "They'll talk now," one of his officers said. "Yes," Reyes replied, "but they'll also wonder what else we're hiding." Varick stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring down at the blue sphere below. He thought of the quiet confidence in Reyes' voice, the impossible drones, the underwater cities, the archives of alien secrets. This was not the mission he had expected. He had come to measure a world, but instead, he had uncovered a mystery. And somewhere deep inside, he felt a flicker of respect, perhaps even caution. The revelation had changed everything, and the galaxy, though it didn't yet know it, would never see Earth the same way again. The show of power, the Corthan fleet had grown quiet. No more small tests, no more sudden scans. They seemed to be watching now, waiting for the next move. And Earth decided it was time to make that move in the underground command chamber. Admiral Reyes stood with his senior officers. "The revelation was enough to make them think," he said. "Now we show them why thinking twice is not enough." A holographic image flickered to life, a massive asteroid drifting far beyond the moon's orbit. "This will be our demonstration," Reyes continued. "We will split it in half." The officers nodded silently. None of them asked why. They knew the answer. Fear was powerful, but proof was unforgettable. High above Earth, in the shadow of the moon, a sleek black human warship prepared for launch. Its name was Aegis. Its hull was smooth, without markings. Its weapon systems hidden beneath armored plates. Only those in the Defense Council knew what it truly carried. On the alien flagship, Captain Varric noticed a small shift in orbital patterns. One of Earth's faint radar signatures had moved. "Track that vessel," he ordered. His crew tried, but the readings were inconsistent. One moment the ship was there, the next it was gone. Varric felt that same unease return. The humans never moved without reason, in deep space. Aegis aligned itself with the asteroid. Its crew worked in silence, their hands moving over glowing controls. Power built up in the ship's main cannon, a weapon no alien had ever seen. It was not a beam, not a missile. It was a pure kinetic rail shot, designed to launch a dense slug at unimaginable speed. In the Corthan fleet's war room, a faint energy surge appeared on their scanners. It was brief, almost like a spark. Zoran frowned. "Captain, something is charging," he said. Varric's eyes narrowed. "From where?" "The moon's shadow," Zoran replied. Before Varric could speak, the surge peaked. From the silent void, a single shot tore across space. It did not glow, it did not hum, it was a blur, faster than most sensors could track. It slammed into the asteroid. The rock shuddered, cracked, and then split apart completely. Two massive halves drifted away from each other, scattering smaller fragments like glitter in the dark. On the alien bridge, the crew stared at the readings in disbelief. "No explosion," one said. "No radiation spike, just force." Varric's jaw tightened. "That was no accident," he murmured. Back in the command chamber, Admiral Reyes watched the asteroid split on the large display. "Send them the recording," he ordered. Within seconds, every Corthan ship received a clear, uncut feed of the strike. No special effects, no dramatic voiceover, just raw power. The aliens analyzed the footage. They calculated the force needed to split an object of that size. Their conclusions made their stomachs turn. The weapon had been efficient, precise, and terrifyingly simple. If aimed at a ship, it would destroy it instantly. If aimed at a planet. The thought was left unspoken. Varric called a closed meeting with his officers. "This was a message," he said. "They didn't just show us a weapon, they showed us control." One officer shifted nervously. "If they have more of these, then war is impossible." Varric nodded slowly. "That's the point. In orbit around Earth, the Aegis powered down its weapon. Its crew remained silent. They knew the demonstration was over. The real work had been in the minds of those watching. In the lunar stealth ship, Commander Elena Torres monitored the alien fleet's reaction through hacked comm channels. "They're shaken," she reported to Reyes. "They should be," Reyes replied. "They now understand the cost of underestimating us." Far above, the Corthan flagship turned slightly, not away from Earth, but toward a more neutral orbit. Varric stood by the main viewing screen. The blue and green world below looked unchanged. But now in his eyes, it was something entirely different. A sleeping giant that had just opened one eye. A quiet transmission was sent from the Corthan fleet. To their high command, it was marked with the highest urgency. "Earth possesses advanced kinetic weaponry capable of planetary destruction." It read, "Recommend immediate diplomatic measures. Hostility is not advised." In the human command chamber, Reyes read the intercepted copy of that same message. He allowed himself a small smile. "They'll talk peace now," he said. "But they'll never forget what they saw, and somewhere, deep in the vast darkness between the stars, other empires would hear of this demonstration. Some would fear it. Some would want to challenge it. But all of them would remember the same thing. Earth was no longer just a remote, forgotten planet. It was a power, and it had just shown the galaxy a glimpse of what it could do. The new reputation word of the asteroid strike spread faster than light through the galaxy's shadow networks. Messages were whispered between merchant fleets, smuggler ships, and military outposts. Most of them said the same thing: Earth was not what anyone thought it was. In the Korthan Empire's capital, High Command reviewed the reports from Captain Varric. His words were direct and without pride. "This world has the ability to destroy fleets without warning," the report began. "They are not an emerging power. They are a hidden one." Other empires began sending inquiries. Some asked for trade agreements, some for military alliances. A few simply wanted to know how humans had stayed hidden for so long. But not one dared to threaten them openly. In orbit above Earth, the Korthan fleet no longer scanned aggressively. Instead, they floated in a neutral formation, sending only diplomatic signals. Captain Varric knew his mission had changed. He had come to evaluate a primitive world. Now he was negotiating with an equal, perhaps even a superior, on the ground. Admiral Reyes and the Human Defense Council held a private meeting. "They will try to ally with us," said one council member. "They will try to study us, to copy us," another added. Reyes nodded. "And we will decide what they get to see." The humans had no desire to start a war. But they understood something important. A reputation could be as strong as an army. If the galaxy feared what Earth might be capable of, that fear could keep them safe for generations. Commander Elena Torres, still stationed in her stealth ship near the moon, sent a quiet message to Reyes. "Alien fleet holding position. No hostile moves," she reported. Reyes replied, "Good, keep eyes on them. But stay invisible." Elena smiled faintly. "Always," she said. In the Korthan flagship, Varric stood alone by the main viewport. The blue planet turned slowly below. He thought of the underwater cities, the hidden factories, the weapon that had split an asteroid like paper. He knew his superiors would demand more answers, but he also knew he could never give them everything. Some part of him, deep inside, respected what the humans had done. A formal meeting was arranged between the Korthan delegation and the Human Defense Council. It took place in a secure conference hall, half above ground, half buried beneath layers of reinforced steel and concrete. Varric and Reyes sat across from each other. The air was calm but charged with meaning. "We have no intention of threatening your world," Varric began. Reyes' reply was smooth. "And we have no intention of becoming anyone's subject." There was no hostility in his voice, but no weakness either. Both sides understood the unspoken truth. This was not a surrender, not a treaty. It was an understanding. Outside the conference hall, soldiers and guards stood ready. Human troops in black armor watched the alien guards. Alien guards watched the humans, but no weapons were drawn. Everyone knew this meeting was more important than any single battle. By the end of the talks, agreements had been made. Trade of limited resources, exchange of non-critical technology, mutual avoidance of each other's secure territories. It was a cautious peace, built on mutual awareness. The day the Korthan fleet departed, the skies over Earth were clear. People in cities and villages went about their lives as if nothing had happened. Most of them never knew how close their world had been to becoming a battlefield, and perhaps that was for the best. From the bridge of his flagship, Varric gave the order to break orbit. As the fleet turned toward the black horizon of space, he sent one last private transmission to Reyes. "Admiral, your world will be spoken of for centuries," it said. Reyes read the message and replied with only 2 words, "We know." When the alien fleet vanished into the stars, the human command chamber fell into a rare silence. Reyes stood at the main console, watching the empty space where they had been. "We've changed the game," he said quietly. His officers nodded. "Now," Reyes continued, "we prepare for the next time. Because there would be a next time, the galaxy would not simply forget. Some would come in friendship, others in envy, and a few in greed. But now Earth had a name in the galaxy, not as a forgotten, remote planet, not as a harmless blue world on the edge of a spiral arm, but as a force to be respected, a power that could not be underestimated. In the shadows of the moon, the stealth ship Aegis and Commander Elena Torres waited silently. Her crew remained on watch. because in the cold darkness of space, peace was only as real as the readiness to defend it, and far beyond, in worlds humans had never seen. Alien rulers whispered the same warning to their people: do not provoke the Terrans, because now they all knew Earth was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same again.